I always have so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That was quick. We're live.
Alive! Woo-hoo!
Live on a Monday evening. So let's see who's queuing at the door. There we go. Oh, I
Monday
missed that
afternoon
one.
for me. Monday
Oh,
afternoon for
yes.
me.
Yeah. Monday. Oh, yes. Yeah. I forget. We're in different
Yeah.
countries.
Monday morning on the west coast of the
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really early in the morning, like in Hawaii. And yeah. But we were just talking backstage about how much we love to wing it. Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I said, but that's half the fun. I mean, we've got a basic framework, of what
Yeah.
you called it, but
Yes.
sometimes it's just really fun to see what's top of mind.
I think so, yes. Hi, Kalpana. Yeah, and hi, everybody else that's joined Eric, and I missed the rest. Sorry, because I was talking, but hi, everybody. Anyway, so we were talking about this. This came up because you said you're the kind of gal that makes give you you'll make lemons into lemonade, whatever the situation. Which obviously that means you make
Whatever
the
platitude,
best
yeah,
out of
yeah,
whatever comes across. But we ought to introduce ourselves first, though. So
sure.
if you don't know me, I'm Sue Reid, and my publication is Confidence Matters. So as you might guess, I talk about confidence. And I'm with Kaz today. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Well, I love confidence matters because it's a double entendre. It means several things from different angles. So I think that was a stroke of brilliance when you named it that. I'm Kaz. I have two publications, Kaz in the World, because I am and have always been so in the world, and Let's Ask Kaz, which is about I'm doing mentorship in the creative and healing arts and in small business because I've had big careers in both of those things, three of those things, and with animal welfare because in tandem with all the other things I did, sometimes I was supporting my performance habit by my love of working with animals, and I had the best of both worlds. But yeah, I'm a published author since I was 14, so like 100 years ago, and and yeah, I we were talking a lot about well, we did a lot for a few minutes. Because I said in the last couple of months since my brother passed that I've been reassessing and am I saying and writing and doing exactly what I want to say and write and do? And then I wait a moment to see if he's got an answer for me. He was always, the one, my mentor, my guide. And my husband said it to me when I was thinking about him a while ago. He said, and I think I was really kind of lamenting because all of these memorials are happening for him and more obituaries are coming out, but he had a huge presence in the world as a historian and a catalytic agent and a choreographer. And my husband, I was really kind of down in the dumps. He said, cut it out, knock it off. Lenny would not want this. His name was Lenny, would not want this for you. So there we go, the lemonade. He would want you to continue to do what you're doing in your best possible way. And like he always said, and he helped so many creative people, performers, writers. He has a film that's going to be screened at the Apollo Theater this weekend, which I'm going to be attending in New York City, called Two Roads. And it's about the intersection of the Black and Irish cultures.
Wow.
Music, dance, you name it, how they influenced each other because Black slaves escaped and somehow got over to Ireland. And that was that road. So I'll see that this Saturday. But he would always say to anyone, myself included, and all the probably thousands of people that he helped along the way, what can we do for you? He would say, pay it forward. Just pay it forward. And now that I'm a grown, mature woman, I'm more in a position to do that.
Yeah.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
And the things in my life that have looked anything from not great to dire have been such amazing teachers. And there was always some, I'm not into the cliches or the platitudes too much, but there was always some gem in there.
Yeah.
that either later on informed me or sometimes much, much later on, I was like, "Oh, wow, that. And look how it's helping me in this situation." So I don't
Mm.
hold on to I do my best not to hold on to the grief and the pain and, uh, elevate myself from it and say, "Okay, look at this from the perspective of in 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, will this be of benefit to you?" And even though I am crying into my tissue, if I keep that in mind, it kind of transforms the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I mean, I don't hold with really with the theory that everything happens for a reason, because I think, there are some really nasty, horrible things that happen in life. There can't be any reason behind it. But I do think that if we are, because we're all energy beings, and if we are vibrating at the higher levels, then things will move along in a way that aligns with our values and the way we look at the world. So, you something horrible might have happened, or you might be going through a situation, but if you can get your way through it, not give up, not run away, not push it all down, but you know be with it, release whatever needs releasing, and just go with it, with the knowledge that it will pass, because everything passes in the end. You will move down that line, down that road, and you will come out at the other end in a better place, with a learning, with the ability to then help somebody else. Because I think this is what we're here for. We're here to carve our path and help other people.
Oh, definitely, definitely, and yeah, what you said about this was supposed to happen or meant to happen, um, to me, I look at it as this is supposed to inform me,
Mm.
and, instead of, well, this happened and it was meant to be, and because yeah, like you, I don't subscribe to that. I
No,
was
no.
involved in a spiritual group for a long time, which felt after a while a little bit like a cult. But the feeling was every single thing you did in every moment of your life was your responsibility or your fault.
Mm. Ab-
Meaning, if I
Absolutely.
turned right and I turned right down the street and I drove down the street and someone T-boned me or hit me head on, it was my responsibility or my fault because I turned right on that street.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm like, I can't get behind that.
No.
I can't get behind that at all. I just happened to turn right down the street. That person just happened to turn left down the street and was not paying attention, was texting or whatever. And
Yeah.
it happened.
It happens, yeah. And then you find yourself in that situation that you had no control over. Okay, you might not have turned right, but you probably were going somewhere and you had to turn right. So you you don't have control over what happened, but you have control over how you respond to it. So what happens next in your life? So do you then, become a victim and give up, or do you think, right, okay, this has happened to me, whatever state I'm in, I'll move forward from here. And as long as we can do that, move forward, always move forward from where you are, not thinking, well, I should be over there or that shouldn't have happened. It did happen. So, get over it, sort of thing.
Well, and I do my best not to use the word should. When people say should to me, I
Yeah.
say don't
Yeah.
should all over yourself. You've
Yeah.
heard me say that before. And it's true. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have gone here. I shouldn't have. And we are I think we're damming up our forward movement with all these shoulds.
Mm.
We're and it's guilt inducing.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have done that. And guilt is a wasted emotion. To
Yeah.
me, it's like regret. I am not a person who lives in or with regret. I find it's also a waste of my time and energy because you can't do anything about the past.
Mm.
You can't go back and play it over, but it can teach you to let's not make that if it was your mistake, or your choice and something happened, then let's move forward with that. And
Yeah.
what I've noticed having been in the healing arts, um, when I was teaching meditation live, and I had really good attendees, but there was always, and I just give the tools. I don't consider myself a guru or, a yogini or anything like that. I'm not the master. I am a master in the healing art form, but I'm not the master. I don't want to be called master, but inevitably there might be a couple of people who would come up to me after class, or one particular person who was always there, and give me all their stuff. And I would say, I'm just here to give you tools. You
Mhm.
take what you can use, leave the rest. But I'm not a trained psychologist, even though I did study how meditation affects the brain, and qigong, and what mental or physical challenges you may have could be contraindicated, and you meditation and qigong aren't a good idea for you. But I'm not here to give you advice,
Right.
you know um because I'm not a trained psychologist or psychiatrist or
Yeah.
therapist. And there are a few things I will give advice when asked, but it's stuff that I'm have an expertise in, a long, long time being involved in it. As a mentor, you're mentoring, but you are eventually giving some advice or your own
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
But and then the same person will come back every single class, and they've not moved forward a centimeter,
Mm.
and regretting that I didn't help them, or regretting that I didn't say the right.
No.
Nah,
Well, the
nah.
thing is, you may have helped them, but it may not have been apparent at that time. So I had an instance when I first became a life coach. So I haven't been coaching very long, so I've had long time in retail banking. But I worked with this young girl, lovely young lady, very, very, very quiet, very introvert, and I just found that I was getting absolutely nowhere with her. I felt. And I would ask her, "So what did you get out of this session?" And she'd say, "Oh, yeah, yeah, you were such a big help. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much." And like she would never actually say what she felt, just that it was helping. So I thought, okay, well, she thinks it's helping. So we carried on. And then when we got to the end of her sessions, and she said, "Okay, thank you. You've helped me so much, and I feel so much better now. And I can actually go out and change my life." And I checked up on her even a year later, and nothing had changed. She was still exactly the same. But she kind of had this issue that she didn't want to grow up. I think she was about 20, 21, and she was still a little girl in her mind. She was almost like a Peter Pan. She did not want
Oh,
to grow up. She was frightened of growing up. She wanted to stay living with her mum. Um, and now she is in London. She's got a brilliant job in publishing. She is sharing a flat with another girl, which she always said, if I do leave home, I'm going to have to get a little flat on my own. I can't live with somebody else. And her life has changed around. I spoke to somebody that knows her and said, "Jack, you would not even believe she's the same person." And so I did have an effect, but it didn't stick at the time. I mean, she
it
took it all
wasn't
in and
apparent.
she could
Yeah.
feel a shift, but it wasn't apparent until later. And then she suddenly like woke up one morning and changed her whole life around. It was amazing. So you
It
never know.
clicked
You just
in.
never know.
You don't. And I'm not living in the same place anymore, so I couldn't kind of check up and see
Mhm.
how these couple of people are doing. But that's a wonderful testament to, we just put it out there.
We plant
We
seeds.
put it
Just
out.
plant seeds
You
and maybe
plant the
they take
seed,
a long time to bloom. Yeah,
and you don't dig the seed up to see if it's growing.
exactly.
You just have to, let it happen, and maybe you will never know
Mm.
if anything happens. Something similar happened with me and my family when we were living in Canada, and we had this wonderful young babysitter. And she was so good with our son, but all of a sudden she started changing. and hanging with different people that we all could see weren't really good for her, and staying out really, I think she was 16 at the time, staying out really, really late, and she'd show up late for sitting. And um, then all of a sudden I noticed that, like, shoes were missing from my house.
Oh,
And then a check came in, that at that time we were writing checks, and the amount was different than I'd written down.
oh,
And I'm like, what is going on here? Well, this crowd she had gotten in with taught her how to bleach a check and write it for a different amount. And she had stolen a very expensive pair of
ah,
shoes. And then I'm going through the checkbook, and she had ripped checks out of the back of the book. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, and then I found out she was taking my son on, like, the subway without my permission. And so she had started to really take a massively negative turn.
mm,
So I had to go to her parents. Well, I called her school and talked to her principal, and her principal brought her into the office. And at first, she tried to deny it. And then I finally said, "Come on, I've been so good to you. You're part of my family. You've got to be straight with me. Come clean with me." And she did. So then we had to go talk to her parents, and her parents weren't people of a lot of means, but they insisted on paying me back.
oh,
I didn't want them to, but that's what they had to deal with later. So she kept kind of going downhill after that. But 2 years later, and we definitely lost touch, but 2 years later, she got in touch with me and she said, "I graduated high school. I'm in college. I turned my life around, and I wanna thank you for what you did, because if you hadn't gone to my principal and gone to my parents, and then I ran away and I realized I couldn't survive, I wouldn't be on this very positive trajectory." So
yeah,
you never know, every single moment of your life, what one even infinitesimal thing you might do for another person, even if it's just a smile and a genuine hi, hi, how are you
yeah,
today,
yeah.
will do for people, much less people you're coaching or I'm teaching. Like, now, I'm not teaching anymore. I'm training teachers. I'm
Mhm.
open to training teachers who are interested, and kind of starting with the foundation, people who want to start with that really solid foundation, and then, you know, take it out into the world. But we can, well, we can be massively influential, both positive and not so positive ways.
Yeah,
But I think that when you take on the mantle of coaching or training or teaching or writing, because Substack, people are just writing they're not professional. There are many very professional writers,
yeah,
but there's some people just expressing their feelings, and you never know that
mm,
little light bulb will come on, or that ding, and it changes your whole perspective.
yeah. I think the people you help the most are the people that never comment, never say anything. They're just there because, especially, in my kind of coaching niche, these are shy people. These are people that don't have an awful lot of confidence. So they're not likely to write a comment, but they're there, they're out there, they're just watching and reading, and learning from it. That's what I hope anyway. That's what
Oh,
I
well,
tell myself.
I would be pretty certain that
Yeah,
you're spot on, because there are a lot of people who just take it in, and they, as you said, they don't comment. They are taking what they need and carrying on,
yeah,
and we need to understand, as we do have some responsibility as writers and coaches and trainers, that what we're putting out there, um, and people are absorbing, that it's to the highest level, the highest vibration of what our mission is, or whatever you want to
yeah,
call our goal, our
yeah,
passion, our
yeah,
mission is.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I think we've got an obligation to, especially, I think we're talking backstage about age, and
Yeah,
when you get to my age, anyway.
our age, as I found out. We're the
I
same
wasn't gonna
age.
say
I'm
anything,
so
but we
excited.
are the same age.
We are the same age. That's
Okay.
yeah, and I told you that that was a bone of contention for me because, being in the entertainment industry for as long as I was, and I've always looked younger than my age. And I'd had agents and managers, when I returned from living in Vancouver, where both my son and I were in the industry, and I was a producer of television there, and then we returned back to the States. We both ended up picking up agents and managers, and my agents were always saying, never ever reveal how old you are.
Mm,
Because, and this wasn't true for me as a casting director myself, but many of them said, um, because once they know your exact age, that's what they have in their minds. No matter what role comes across their desk, they're going to look at that and know you can play 33, but you're actually 41.
mhm.
Or no, you can play 67, but are actually, you can play 50 or 52, but you're actually 67, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I would never, I told you this, if I knew someone's age and it was older than the character, but they could do it in every way, shape, and form, why, and they were great, why would
Mm,
I not give them
exactly.
that chance? So that stuck in my mind for a really long time that never, ever, ever say how old you are. And then I get involved with the Positive Women's Aging group.
Mm,
And we talked so much about aging all the time. It became another almost conundrum for me where I was focusing so much on my age. And we all know how old we are, but I was focusing so much on it all the time that, um, then I went to the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I didn't really accept an entertainment. I didn't think about it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I
yeah.
didn't, it wasn't society and the media or entertainment were imposing those boundaries on me,
Mhm.
not even parameters, but
Yeah,
boundaries on
yeah.
me.
On women, not on men so much, but on women. Yeah.
Nope, 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 nope. And I know there are several people who, um, have no idea how old I am, and I think, when they find out, they're gonna be shocked, and, um, yeah, uh,
Yeah, because you don't look your
it's
age, and you look younger than me, so, this is the last live I'm ever gonna do with you now.
no, no,
Forget
you're
it.
so beautiful, your energy is so great and amazing, and, I guarantee you no one would be able to guess how old we are.
Mm,
Unless they went online and look. I mean, for me, they probably could go online and look up my name, and then it would pop up because I don't know about in the UK, but in the States, there are these kind of nefarious websites where you can go and find out someone's address and telephone number and their
oh,
age
really?
and all that.
No, you
So
can't in the
it'd
UK.
be,
I think you can. I think you can, but you have to pay for it or something? I don't know.
yeah, you can get around it online in the States. And then if you happen to be one of those people nefariously on the dark web, you can find out just about anything.
Mm.
So, but yeah, this is kind of the first time I've even talked about age, because and thanks to you, I really, I have girlfriends who are really movers and shakers, and they have no compunction about saying it
Mm.
because it's a part of their how earnest they are, and it's a part of, their niche or whatever. Ugh,
Yeah,
I can't stand
yeah.
that word. Their brand, their niche. Ugh. But, but, it's just you gotta live every day. As I mentioned with my brother, he just stood up one day and
Mm.
fell on the ground, and that was it.
Mm.
And I'm hoping it was easy and it was just lights out. But he'd been sick for out the day before. But,
Oh,
you know, um, what the hell's stopping us from just doing everything we can? I mean, I do know we have financial, uh parameters
Yeah.
some people have to live in, and physical parameters and whatever, but doing the best we can with what we've got to work with.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those, don't let anything stop you unless you physically cannot do it.
Okay.
Unless it's just, I don't train the way I used to train. I can't lift heavy weights. I can't do hit training. My body would fall apart into a pile of bones because of my joints and my ligaments and my tendons for what I did for a living for decades,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And I did lament it for a little while, but now I'm like, that's so stupid. There's so many other wonderful things out there in the world and that you love to do than thinking about, oh, I can't fall off of buildings anymore.
Yeah.
Some
I mean,
people can't.
yeah, I mean, as we get older, there are bound to be things that we can no longer do. There's bound to be, but that doesn't mean we have to start saying, "Oh, well, it's because I'm old. It's because of this." I never ever do that. And my neighbors, I don't think my neighbors know how old I am, and some of them, I think, that I think they must be about my age or a bit young, a bit older rather, and they'll say things like, well, when you get to my age, dear, oh, it's aging. This is what you've got to look forward to.
Stop that. Stop
I mean, I
that.
have
Oh,
got a dodgy hip. I have got
I do
osteoarthritis.
too.
Eh,
I do
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yep.
But I am determined by the end of this year, I'm determined to be able to run again. I used to run a lot, which
Oh,
is probably what did my hip in the first place. But I do want to run, even if it's only a little way. I want to be able to run. At the minute, I have a job walking too far, but I will get there.
yep. Yep. I hear you. Exactly. And it's just acceptance is, say, oh, tolerate this and tolerate that. Well, I don't tolerate. It's like saying, I tolerate you, Sue.
Mm.
I tolerate you. Somebody who's got a different lifestyle or a different life or, just, I'm not going to say, I tolerate you. No, I accept you. I accept you for who you are. And
I mean,
not just
tolerate
in
to
a,
me, the word tolerate sounds like, well, I don't really like you, but I'll put up with you. Is that what I guess
yeah,
what tolerate
well,
means?
let me
Not a
see
word I
what the
use.
definition is. I've
Yeah.
got my
I
computer
don't
right
think it's a
here.
word I ever use. I've never said to anybody, I'm going to tolerate you.
Well, yeah, or yeah, I read it all the time. I'm such a voracious okay,
Right.
tolerate. Hang on, because I have to have readers these days. To refrain from interfering with or prohibiting something undesirable or outside of one's own practice or beliefs, allow or permit.
Okay.
But then it says to accept. And for me, I mean, tolerance, and I know tolerance is a big thing. They have organizations for tolerance, but I like the word accept much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a brighter word,
I like to
and I'm,
accept people as they come. That doesn't mean I'm going to like them, but I'll accept that that's who you are. And, most people are the result of where they've come from, their upbringing, their culture, their where they started in life. It's all that mixture. Because when a baby's born, a baby is neither good or bad. It's just a baby. That's our starting point, and where we go from there is, it changes us one way or the other.
oh, we could get into the whole dialogue about nature versus
Yeah,
nurture
yeah,
and all your
yeah.
DNA and all of that. But yeah, it's we come completely blank slate. And then it's whatever our experiences are, the type of family we've grown up in,
Mm,
our exposure to our world, the world in general, that I think then you get this person, and sometimes things went wonky, and that informed their personality. I know that at certain times in my life, um, there's been nature and um, exposure, and I've gone wonky, and I've gone, no, I don't like this about myself.
mm.
I don't like this direction. I don't like these feelings. I don't like these emotions. I don't like the way I'm expressing myself, how I'm treating myself or others. And that I made a concerted effort to dig really, really, really deeply down and say, okay, what's good about you? What's great about you? What is positive about you? And um, let's expand on that and let's see what we can do about, because I had a very challenging mother, and we've talked about family dynamics before. And very complicated relationship with both my parents, and I do have both of their DNA. And I do see when the negative parts of their DNA have reared their ugly head, and I go, ugh. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Can you be gentle with yourself? And if you don't like what just popped out, can you um, work on that?
Mm.
Can you assess that? Because there are certain parts of their personality which were wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, so my love of animals and compassion in that way, and love of the arts, which was my mother's uh, very positive attributes, and a couple of my dad's. What's the reason I can't? I didn't. I do now. Acknowledge that those are parts of you, and really wonderful parts of you that came from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We pick up, yeah, we inherit good parts, we inherit their bad parts as well. I mean, I think I think probably for most of my beginning of my life, I was wonky. I definitely went wonky, but
You had
I
some
had to hit
major
the
shit
bottom.
happen to
Yeah, I
you.
mean, I had to hit the bottom to
Mm.
realize that this wasn't the life I wanted. This wasn't the life that was meant for me. Um, and, I would not blame my parents. Okay, they weren't the best parents in the world, but they were parents. And they had good parts, they had bad parts. My father was a huge motivator. He pushed too hard, but he really motivated me to do well, which resulted in me spending most of my life trying to prove myself, which is not good. But
Yes.
I
Yes.
had a successful career because of that. So, and my mum was weird. She's manic depressive. But she had some very good like sayings. I remember all of her little sayings and words of wisdom that she would come out with, and all of those are in my brain. And I think I learned a lot from her when she was in a good mood. When she wasn't in a good mood, and all I learned was that
Steer
she'd never
clear.
had children.
Steer clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting. We were cut from the same mold in many, many ways, just from different families. Well, my heritage is UK, Scotland, Ireland. My family came over from Hertfordshire in 1797. And what part of them? And then some of my Irish family came from Dublin, and then the Scottish part came from Inverness. And so there, I hear that similar pattern of both of our parents, from maybe that was handed down from their lineage or whatever. But I find it really interesting, and maybe it was our parents were obviously around the same age, so just
Mhm.
the era that they were
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. Because my parents grew up in the war years. So they didn't really know how to show emotion because you just didn't. So I didn't at
No.
all. I'm sure they did love me, although my mum used to say she didn't, but I think they did.
Oh, I would only get it back if I said it.
Mm.
And yeah, daddy would be, I love you. And he'd be like, yeah, me too. And that was as far as it went. But
Yeah.
it also depends on who they were raised by, too. I
Yeah.
mean, they both had very difficult upbringings, and their parents had difficult upbringings. So, I want to say I get it,
Mm.
but the buck stopped here with raising my son,
Yeah.
and how, and the relationship we have now. And yeah, my thought processes, and with how I'd love to see him. grow up and the kind of person I would love. And he's every bit and more um, what I was hoping for him
Mhm.
in terms of his place in the world,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we were right. We were just going to fly by the seat of our pants and talk about everything.
The
It's fun, though. Isn't it fun? It's
Yeah.
like two girlfriends sitting having tea.
That's how I like
And
it to be. Yeah, just having a cuppa, having a chat, putting the world to rights, and,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and hopefully people
Putting
find.
the world right. Well, yeah, we say with several girlfriends, I've said, yeah, so we've solved those problems. What for next time? And I'm doing a new podcast coming up the end of this month or early April. And I've been, even before I did my previous podcast, I'd been working on it, but I hadn't really gotten really honed into it. And want it to be when I have someone on, I don't it's like, yeah, bring a guest on. I'm gonna bring, like, my world family on, bringing in
Mm.
people who have something to say about wonder and kindness and, um, all of that in their lives, and then I'm also gonna do a Let's Ask Kaz segment for anybody who is I have a lot of young people in my life who write me, who we know each other face to face, and because I've been through, as I say, the trenches um, in my career, that come to me and just chat with me, and I treat them like full-fledged human beings. I know they say to me, they're not always treated like they've got any brains whatsoever, and I said, "You do. It's just they're newer."
Yeah.
You've got a newer
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
So you haven't been around as long as I have to amass all this information. Um, but yeah, I want it to be, and it's going to be, and it's going to be a micro podcast. So if I have a guest on, they may be on 3 times, because
Okay. Yeah.
and I really wanted to get in and uh, have some sort of subject and then bring in my world family and then close it out and maybe carry on. But I love this because you and I like girlfriends. And I've
Yeah.
done that with other people on their podcasts. And I love being a guest on other podcasts to have conversations like this. Just really friendly, easy, relaxed, comfortable conversations
Yeah.
about stuff, everything from
Uh,
being please.
yeah. No, I was going to say about anything, but just start off with the topic and just see where it leads you. Like, don't. I'm not keen on where, because sometimes people say, "Cool, can you write some things down that you're going to ask me?" And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to ask you. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to ask.
Be ready, expect the
Yeah.
unexpected,
Yeah,
right?
if you want to tell me something that you want me to ask you, I'll try and remember. But don't ask me what I'm going to ask you because I have no idea.
You just need to tell your guests we're going to be totally spontaneous,
Yeah, yeah,
and some people can't handle it. I've worked with guests where I've tried to be spontaneous, but basically they present no matter where they're guests on any podcast or show, they have the same framework, and you will see it in every single podcast that they've done. This is what
yeah,
they get on, this is what they talk about, and there's really very little deviation from
yeah,
that. You
yeah,
cannot take a left
yeah.
turn because they get so flustered. And I'm like, let your hair down, relax. If you need a glass of wine, put it there. If you need a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever, let's just go with the flow. But, I get it. Some people, I'm incredibly spontaneous. I had to be for all of my career
Yeah.
and go with the flow and let's just chat, you know. And
I
obviously you've got such a great following and you've established that. Here's the theme, but who knows? It's kind of like life if you think about it.
Yeah,
Here's
exactly.
the theme.
Yeah.
Here's my theme. Here's my goal. Here's my passion. However, I don't want to say but because but can be a negative. However, life shows up.
Mm.
Life is so very life, as
Oh,
I say.
well, like, we don't know what's around the corner, and, things come around the corner and hit us in the face. We just have to
Yes.
deal with it. You don't know. So you can make plans. It's great to have plans, but just always be flexible. Don't think this is what's got to happen, because it might not.
Well, and I can't tell you how many times I've had, whether it was holiday plans or something, where it went completely awry. I was going out of town once with my husband when his mom was still alive, and she fell and broke her shoulder right after we left town. So we turned right back around, canceled all our plans.
Mm.
And I remember going on a trip with my young son, and the night before he was vomiting all night, and I gave him something to settle his stomach, but I was living on an island at the time and I had to catch a ferry, and we're in line at the ferry and he gets out of the car and throws up in the garbage can. you know, we still went, but it was kind of like, okay, we were going to visit family. I don't know how we're going to show up here. So, and it's wow, that was really kind of a revelation. You just don't know how life's going to show up.
No.
And rigidity can really dam things up. And again, back to lemonade, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever really, well, you've talked, when we spoke about your early life and everything you went through. Have you found, here's me interviewing the host. Sorry. Have you found that in your life, if you've been in a phase of rigidity and you realized it, what happened, or where did you discover anything?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think I've learned just to roll with whatever turns up. But I mean, you were saying about bringing your son up differently. I, because I had three bad relationships, and I also in those relationships I had a miscarriage, and then I had two ectopic pregnancies,
Oh
and
my gosh.
then I was with my last my ex husband, my last husband, my ex husband.
Your husband, that's why I call him your husband.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought there's no way I want to have a child with somebody that it's where it's going to tie me to them for the rest of the child's life. I do not want that. So therefore, I'm obviously not. The doctors told me that you've got a 20% chance of getting pregnant naturally, but you could try IVF or something like that. And I just said, no, I don't. And I actually got sterilized because I thought, I'm not going to have children. That's it. And, my mum was saying, oh, no, you would make such a great mother. And I would have. Oh, I did make a great mother, because what happened was I met my now husband, Bob. He had three children, two daughters
Oh.
and a son. Daughters that I hadn't really never, I got on with one for a while, but they're not my family really. They're his
Mm,
family. Um, but the son, who was 7 when I met my husband, we my husband had loads of problems with his ex-wife getting access to his
mm,
son, a huge problem.
mm.
So we would see him sometimes on the weekend, but then other times he wouldn't be able to come. She would get him to ring up and say he didn't want to come because of me, because he hated me. He didn't. He loved me. When a child likes you or hates you. And
Absolutely.
one day, out of the blue, Saturday morning, phone call to Bob, come and pick the little bastard up. He doesn't want to live with me. He wants to live with you. That was her exact words. So
Well,
Bob was
shame
like,
on her, number one.
Bob was like, what should we do? I mean, what shall I say? I went, go and get him. Christ, I'm not going to say, no, I don't want a child. I brought him up. He has nothing to do with his mother.
See, the universe said this is how you're
Yeah.
going to be a mother,
Yeah.
and this is the best way for you to be a
Yeah.
mother. It's not always physical birth.
No.
I think, I had one son, never had a child before, never had a child after. I had him older. they called us a I was, they call you a geriatric mother when you're over the age of, like, 35, and I'm like, "Really? Come on." But, yeah, and it never happened afterwards, and I just feel like this is the way it was meant to be. This
Yeah.
is the way but he said if he has children, he wants to have 2. His girlfriend and he who, intend on getting married down the road, they're like she's a single child she was a single, child too, and they both said it felt lonely. That was the only thing, and if they had children, they would have 2.
Mm.
And I'm like, "Well, there's no guarantee they'll really get on and that they'll be close, close, but, your parenting could help with that." But I get how he said, oh, it's so funny. When he was little, he said, "Mom, I want a big brother." And I said, "Well, honey, I would have had to get started on that way before you." I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah, I could see that he really had longed for a sibling. But he went everywhere with me. I mean, he went everywhere. He had experiences that other children may not have if there were more children in the family. And he's got an incredibly astute palate because he tried eating everything. We did, he'd say, "No, I don't want to eat that." And I said, "Just have a no thank you portion." A no thank you portion. So he'd go, "Oh, okay," he'd try it. And then inevitably, 95% of the time, he's like, "Oh, that's good. I like it." Even things like mussels and
Wow.
seafood and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, he's incredibly, he has a really great taste where that's concerned. But yeah, it's you raised this beautiful young man. And how old is he now?
He is 38. 38?
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be 38 this year. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and he came to live with us when he was 11. I think he was just turned 11. Yeah, yeah.
And what a beautiful wife you are. And what a beautiful heart you have to say to your husband,
Good.
"Are you joking? Are you kidding? We are going to get him. He's
Yeah,
going to live with
yeah,
us."
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
he did. Never look back, never look back, and,
I would
yeah.
be more than willing to bet he, at this point, understands the gravity of all of that
Well,
and
he's
how
got a
he
son of his own now, so he's married with a son
Oh,
of his own, and, yeah, he said, "I'm not gonna I wouldn't not treat my son the way she treated me," so, yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we
Well,
don't even know
I
exactly what went on after his dad left, but, he's never really spoken fully about it, but I know that because she had a violent partner who I think she's still with, but yeah, so he needed to get out there. So yeah, he was and I brought him up the way I believe that you should bring a child up, which I think I did a good job.
well, it sounds like you did a magnificent job.
Yeah.
And maybe all whatever happened to him early on in life, he didn't really absorb it a lot because he didn't understand, and there's nothing to
Mm,
talk about in
mm.
general, because his life changed so drastically
Yeah.
in the blink of an eye at age 11.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he won't talk about it anyway, and he doesn't talk to his sisters either, which is telling. So, yeah.
Well, it's a shame when stuff like that happens and
Mm,
there's such a rift in families like that.
yeah. Bob's family, unfortunately, is quite complicated. Very.
What family is not lately? I mean,
I
I'm
know.
I would love to meet someone right now who did not have some sort of complications in their
Yeah.
family. But then again, a lot more, we have a lot more conversations. Go, "Oh, yeah, your dad, my dad, your mom, my
Yeah.
mom." But
Yeah.
we can chuckle about it and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, I'm
Yeah.
here today and I'm loving my life and I'm so grateful for the lessons, both current and retrospectively."
Yeah.
And honestly, people say to me, "What would you've done differently?" I said, "Not a damn thing.
No, because then we'd be different
Not,
people, wouldn't we? We'd be different people in different
yeah,
lives. So you have to live the life that you've lived
yeah,
because otherwise you wouldn't even know this life. It'd be completely
no.
different. So
Yeah.
you
If
have
I
to,
hadn't
yeah.
left Canada if I hadn't left Canada with my son when it just became the 2 of us and moved back to California, I would have never met my husband. We met
Yeah.
and I was never, ever, 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 ever ad infinitum going to get married again.
Mm.
And my current husband, um, well, there won't be another, so my only
Current
husband,
current husband.
um, he said, "One and done, one and done, one and done, one and done." And we met in meditation.
Mhm.
And, as my families want to say, Bob's your uncle, you know? And yeah, we just had our anniversary on March 2nd.
Oh,
And yeah, it just gets better every year. We know each other better and we relate better. And we had really shaky moments in the beginning
mm.
because we both had some big old trunks we were carrying along with us, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Yeah, because I got married only shortly after I'd been through a bad time. So, and it wasn't on the rebound. It was because I was being very, very careful. I actually knew exactly what I wanted. I got this mental list of the man I wanted. So I was, he, I found him. The universe brought him to me.
And that happens when you ask for what you
Yeah.
want and not what you don't want, because the universe can't differentiate,
No,
I believe.
no.
This is my experience,
Mm.
is I do my best to state in the positive what I'm looking for. And because, yeah, you will be brought whatever you state in
Yeah.
the positive or the negative, as I said, in my experience. So,
Yeah.
and people do have a hard time of stating things in the positive because, I, like I said, I studied the brain and the neurological implications of meditation for years. And the thing is, the brain is pre wired for negativity, fight
Mhm.
or flight, and all of that.
Yeah.
We're still animals. So, the more negatively you think, the closer the synapses for negativity will grow together. So, those negative impulses and thoughts and actions will come more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, when you start training the brain to look at things more positively, then those synapses will grow more closely together. And it's like you walk out of your house today, right? And you say, I am going to notice every single blue vehicle. And you do, but you never notice the red ones. You don't notice the white ones. You don't notice the black ones. You're just looking for the blue ones,
Yeah.
right? Um, there was a science experiment with a focus group where they would, I don't know if I've told you this before. This was at the time they had this big poster board, and their participants they said, okay, I want you to look at every single thing on this board and memorize everything that's red. So he gave them a few minutes and they did. And you know what I'm going to say. He takes the board away and he says, okay, tell me everything that was on the board that was blue. No one could name a single thing that
Yeah.
was blue on
Yeah.
the board. So when you go out there looking for the negativity, looking for people to behave badly, to
Yeah.
drive
Just see
badly,
what you
to
look
express,
for. Yeah. Yeah. There's
that has
another
changed my
yeah,
life.
there's another old video that I watched. I think yeah, we were shown it at work on one of those like, get better sort of days. Whatever you call it,
Right?
team building days.
Feel better, team building.
Team building days. But it was a video of these girls playing basketball and they were bouncing the ball to each other. And you had to count how many times the ball hit the ground. So you were counting, and I think that I can't remember whether it was one, it must have been one ball that they were passing around. You were counting how many bounces. And then at the end, they said, okay, so how many bounces? And I think some people got it right, some people got it wrong. They said, and did you notice anything odd about that video? And they were like, no, no. And nobody noticed anything. And they said, okay, well, I'm going to show you again. And this time, don't count the basketball, just look for something that's a bit different. and this great big man in a gorilla suit walks
You know what?
across the basketball court
I
like
knew
5
I
minutes into
remember that.
yeah,
Oh my gosh,
but
that is
nobody
so
notices.
isn't that telling?
Yeah.
What are we looking at in our world? What are we observing? We're not we're looking at we're only following the bouncing ball.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh my gosh, when the giant gorilla who's about to grab you and take you to its lair is breathing down your neck and you're just looking at the mouth. Follow. What did they say? What were they using for a while? Look for the shiny object. We're only looking for the shiny object.
Yeah.
Oh, where's the shiny object? And we're missing every single thing that's happening around the shiny
Yeah.
object.
Yeah.
You know? Oh my gosh. We could talk forever, and I think we must do this more often. I have
Definitely.
to have you
Yeah,
have you on for several of my micro episodes because
I
I just
will.
have the
Yeah.
best time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do, and I hope that people will watch us both more
Yeah.
and
I
enjoy
hope
us both
yeah, I hope
more.
that there's 24 people that join, whether they're still here or not, I have no idea, and
Hi,
if they're
everybody.
awake, they may not even be awake.
Are you kidding? You know what? If one person joins, I'm so excited. I remember I was watching a live and the two people had 120 or 130 people. And they're like, oh, we have such a small turnout. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
One person, you can make a difference in one person's
Yeah.
life. And stop thinking it's about gathering. Would I love to have 50 people or 100 people and people come and sign up for your courses or buy my new book that's out now called The Perfectly Messy Thing Called Life. It's out now on
Ooh,
everywhere.
okay.
Yeah. Um, so yes, would I love people to go to my Kaz in the World YouTube channel more and
Yeah.
come here. And because you and I have carved out a be good to people, pay it forward. Um, because we have had a lot of fortune in our lives. And the misfortune has informed us, and the fortune, what else can we do than try to help others? You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
What we need. We
I
need
mean,
kindness. Yeah.
yeah, we need kindness. I didn't watch the Walk for Peace, the monks, and I happen to follow, I'm a Buddhist practitioner.
Mhm.
So that's one reason I follow them, but they affected the energy.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, really in a huge magnitude of their walk. And in the first, 20 some days, one of them got run over and lost part of
Yeah.
his leg
Yeah.
and still would show up at different points
Yeah.
the walk.
Yeah.
And the Venerable Panakara got on the steps, outside the Lincoln Memorial. And all he talked about was, may we have peace in this and this and this and this, and may we have kindness in this. And
Yeah.
people are desperate for kindness because they have not been shown it.
Mm.
The bully was bullied.
Mm.
And this is all the bully knows,
Yeah.
you know?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So Kalpana, Daniel, and Peter have all said they're still here. So well done, you three. You're brilliant. You're
I'm thrilled whenever anyone sticks around because it's just, I've gotten energy to carry on for the rest of the day because you're a beautiful human being and I absolutely adore you.
likewise.
And I get a lot of I'm pretty ebullient as it were in life, but it's nice when you've got this reciprocity
Yeah. Yeah.
of kindness and positive energy. It just makes my day.
No. Well, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you as always.
Now, you'll
Really,
have this
yeah.
it'll be available for me to put on my Substack, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'll go out automatically. Yeah.
Okay. And I would love to put it on my YouTube. So let's
Yeah.
talk about how I can get it on my YouTube because I really want to spread the word more and I love our interactions. I put all of them there too while I try to just grow my kindness YouTube too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, bless you. All right. Well,
Oh,
thank you. And
where
thank you
do I have my
everybody that's here.
Oh, and here's my heart for you. Here's my heart
No,
for you.
thank you.
My quartz heart. I like to after at the end of everything, I like to give you my heart.
Oh, okay. All right then. Well, thank you, and thank you everybody that's here. And yeah, we'll do another one soon, very soon. Okay.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yep, take care. Lots of love,
Take care
everybody. See you.
then. Bye, everybody.